Welcome back, everybody, to another great day of League of Legends here at the KeSPA Cup 2018. I'm Valdez. With me is Papa Smithy. Nothing like starting off the broadcast with some of BK, the sound director guy here at Afreeca. He's got the best tunes, and we've got the best League of Legends in the world.
How deep into YouTube do you have to go to find a bombing tune like we've got here? But you don't have to go very far to find sick League of Legends. Not just today, tomorrow as well. Bringing you some great stuff today. 2 best of 3s. Before into the best of 5 stage, Valdez, we'll have 3 straight best of 5s to decide the KeSPA Cup from tomorrow. Today, we get the final 2 debuts in our first match. We're spoiled, I guess. Afreeca Freecs against Griffin, and then Damwon Gaming versus the SKTT1 Dream Team. There's so much great League of Legends, and I'm just ready to get started.
I cannot wait to see what these, updated rosters from, well, I suppose Afreeca's the one with the updated roster. Griffin sticking with what they've got. It worked for them, especially for a team that just made it into LCK. Can't argue with those results so far, and once they get more games under their belt as a squad, no doubt they're going to continue their just winning here at the LCK.
And it's so interesting to see because Griffin, we've kind of talked a lot about scrims, right? And this time, like, oh, these guys, I heard they're good. Oh, these guys, I heard they're not doing so well. Everyone heard about Griffin in the same breath as Damwon Gaming because Damwon was a surprise, but hearing that Griffin was doing really well against Fnatic, doing really well against IG, you're like, okay, that makes sense. It was a surprise that they weren't at the World Championship. Kingzone, Griffin, those are the squads that could have been there, maybe should have been there, but were not there at Worlds for a variety of reasons. I think for Griffin, the biggest takeaway was kind of the youth status, the rookie status. They came in, they ran the most impossible gauntlet in summer season, but when it came to that final victory, they couldn't get it. They were reverse swept by KT Rolster. When it came to actually qualifying for Worlds, Gen G were too strong, so they are almost men when it comes to big achievements. But when it comes to a single best of 3 or best of 5, there are many more opponents that Griffin are favored against than you would say the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they show up here tonight because I feel like a bunch of the teams with the new rosters, specifically Kingzone the other day, yesterday, really struggling up against Gen G there, and didn't really seem like they seem very rusty. Didn't have that kind of teamwork as a new roster. But we'll have to wait and see how Afreeca and Griffin do. Guys, at the bottom of your screen, you can see the rest of the days that we do have here at the Freecup studio, as well as the finals on New Year's Eve. We're going to be there at the Gwanggato Hall of Sejong University. So
we're getting specific now. That's how you know it's close. We've got the Elgato Hole there. I know it's Gwanggato, but having fun with it. And we're having fun with League of Legends here because it's still 8:24. It's still the KeSPA Cup. Again, it's much more that showcase. We've got 2 new teams to show you, and then we've shown you everything. Then you have seen absolutely everything. But have you seen Aiming's hair? That's right, that's Aiming to the left of Yukal on your screen. Aiming and Jelly will be the bot lane, so Jelly finally gets to start after being behind Tucson for 2 years on the Afreeca Freecs. Keen, Dread, Yukal, Aiming, and Jelly. Dread preferred over Spirit. Previously known as Twinkle, renamed, a week ago, 2 weeks ago. A Challengers Korea jungler, Dread is preferred. And I asked Spirit, had the chance to, of course, we all know, speaks great English to Spirit. What should I expect out of Dread? And he said, this guy is damn aggressive. He puts me to shame. So that's going to be certainly some big words when it comes to how much counter-jungling we think will come out of the new jungle. But when it comes to big roster acquisitions, this man in the mid lane here, Kuro, is out. The captain of the team previously, and in is Yukal, the man who did deliver in the end. that first title to score in the jungle to Katie Rolster. He will be moving over to Afreeca. He said he wanted to start grinding, and grinding is what Afreeca does best.
Wow, we're really breaking it down here as now we're taking a look at Griffin. Same lineup you all know and love. They did add a new sub-support in Cabby, but outside of that, Sword, Tarzan, Chovy, Viper, and Lehens will stick together for another year.
And they are the last team we introduce, Valdez, and the first team we introduce with an unchanged roster. No team in the KeSPA Cup previously on either side of the coin named an unchanged roster. That's a big thing. In a off-season of change, I think Griffin heralded more change than they actually required. They were the new blood that came into the LCK that made a lot of people look over their shoulders, and just like Faker 5 years ago, made some people reevaluate where they were at in their career and where they were going. Griffin so close to LCK Summer Champions, so close to Worlds, neither locked in. And as we see, some adjustments to
what's going on there.
I don't know. UCall and Aiming having a good moment there. Very, very youthful lineup on the side of Afreeca Freecs. Lots of young players. UCall 17, Dread 18, Aiming 18. Very, very young roster. Keen somehow the second oldest player on this team at 19 years of age.
Yeah.
Jelly's the veteran, and he's never played a game in the LCK. So lets you know there's a lot of growing to be done here. And when we see him, remember that NoFace should be the on-stage coach here, making that big return from EDG after being best known on the beloved 2016 and 2015 Rocks Tigers lineup.
Yeah, Afreeca looking to do a little bit better than 5th place. It seems like that's where they always end up in the LCK. We'll see how they do as time goes along, but take a look at the 2018 match records. That one at the bottom, the 2018 LCK Summer Playoffs. They were one game away from defeating Griffin here, but Griffin just barely able to take the victory. It was a long and drawn-out series. I remember that one. I think Chovy played Orianna at the end and just barely was able to take that victory.
One of the best best-of-5s we've had in Korea in a long while, and it was backed up by another 5-game series, Griffin losing to Katie Rolster in 5 games. So we were certainly blessed in the LCK Summer Playoffs. Just a few months ago. Feels like years ago, but it was just before Worlds, and we're in a pre-Worlds and post-Worlds kind of dimension now. We have gone through the time where Korea is no longer recognized as the best region in the world, and that's why it feels like a while ago Griffin were not there. And I wore a Griffin jersey and told a sad story about Griffin not being there during the Worlds broadcast, which lets you know that it felt like Griffin was set up to succeed in the meta that evolved, but was sadly unable to qualify on the previous meta. That should mean that with 2 more months of seasoning, Griffin should be pretty prepared to make a very good debut in KeSPA Cup. Anything less than a Griffin victory would be seen as a disappointment.
It's very true. We're also taking a look at Dread over there, formerly Twinkle, super aggressive. Expect, Kha'Zix's Lee Sin. He's going to be up against one of the best, newest junglers here in the LCK. The addition here is Tarzan, of course, huge name now in Korea for being one of the best junglers we have.
And I'm willing to re-edit your comments, say one of the best blank blank LCK. He is one of the best players we have here in any role. Tarzan was so good on Griffin over the course of summer. Only a single split. He wants to back it up, as does Viper, who has to kind of have a bone to pick about his reputation as only being able to play the awesome dudes, the Vladimir, the Ryze, the Yasuo, and not the regular marksman. Could still be an awesome dudes here today. Somehow not thinking the KeSPA is going to slip through. That one will almost certainly be banned. We're almost here. Picks and bans on patch 824B. Nico and Zinjao still disabled, sadly, but getting a last look at all the players on the side of Griffin back from their holidays overseas, been releasing those travel logs, kind of incrementally putting them out there. Afreeca's new lineup. I think this is one where, people say, I wish Deft was there. It was so close to being a dream lineup.
Yeah.
I think Aiming gets really hard done by. This guy's first year was this year, and yes, he was beaten by the best, but he also only had games, dozens of games behind him. He will soon have hundreds of games behind him. He will be a long-term player in the LCK.
Yep, hard to argue with that one, but here we go, Papa Smithy. Picks and bans coming in for game number 1. Afreeca will be on blue, Griffin on red. Can't wait to see what kind of style these two teams are going to bring in and who will play that newly popular aggressive style on 824B.
Exactly. To reiterate, 824B, as you can see at the bottom of your screens, Nico and Zinjao are globally banned, and you know what? KeSPA is globally banned too. She has to actually be banned. You have to Spend 1 to do it, but no KeSPA is allowed. Only 100% contested champion after Aurelia finally started falling through in the last couple of days.
See a ban here on the Aatrox. Definitely a very popular first pick, which leads you to believe, you know, what is Keen going to play playing up in the top lane? We saw Urgot just have... He's one of the most picked champions that doesn't get banned very often. 18 picks, only 6 bans. Would be interesting to see if Keen can hop onto that. Maybe they'll ban out Nakali or some other kind of matchup, as we saw yesterday. Can be one on either side, but let's see what they are going to go with on their last ban here. It is going to be the Kha'Zix, after all.
The new tournament meta. Feels like the tournament mascot might be that Kha'Zix, who has been, like you say, almost 100% picked and banned recently. 7-7, so 50% win rate. The win rate hasn't been popping, and people have been pulling off the Lee Sin against it more often than not. So jungle pool, a bit different than we're used to. See what Griffin's final ban is. A respect ban to Jelly on his debut on the Afreeca lineup. It's cool to see. And what will the final ban be by Griffin? Okay, it will be the Aurelia, who was close to that 100% pick ban status. Lucian first pick has come out very, very frequently in recent memory. Afreeca have played this in multiple roles. Given the top lane Lucian for Keen, seems like something he could play. Most likely going to be the bot lane Lucian, and Lucian has been a real value bet as a first pick recently. If you look at his win-loss, he's had 13 games available, banned 10 times, 9-4. So an almost 70% win rate for a first pick is a really, really high one. And it's why we see a lot of the Urgot as well, as even though Urgot isn't winning as much, you don't sacrifice a lot drafting it early. But Afreeca, to get the Lucian, did sacrifice the Galio, the Chovy, in those best of fives, had some monstrous performances of his own.
Also going to pick up Ezreal. Interesting that they go ahead and pick that early here. Could have saved that for a third pick. Pick something like the Urgot or an Akali, who also has a very high win rate so far. But the Ezreal gets picked, and they give over Urgot and Lissandra to Afreeca, who should be pretty happy. So
Galio versus Lissandra, 2 roaming mid laners with reliable CC that will most likely take Aftershock. A bit of a wash in some ways, even if it feels like the Galio power level is a bit higher than it might be when we actually kick off the LCK next year. What does Griffin make of this? Because a matchup into Urgot, the famous one, of course, is Sion, Iceborne Gauntlet Sion that the Shy did so well on, and it does fit the usual wheelhouse of Griffin's top laners, but that's definitely some burst damage from the mid lane, but not necessarily a lot of consistent damage from the solo lanes here on the side of Griffin. Jungle picks could potentially continue to be pinched, and I wonder where Tarzan will go, as the jungle meta has rolled around pretty extensively since the last time we saw Tarzan play in that Worlds qualifier.
Well, we already have 2 bans on junglers, you could say, with the Xin Zhao being globally banned. It's kind of unfortunate that that ban comes in, the global ban, just because Xin Zhao would be played very often if he was not banned. I mean, it was even flexed to the top lane by BBQ on the backs of LS's cool drafting strategy. But as you mentioned, that jungle pool already being taken away, the Kindred going to be banned alongside Tom Kent by Afreeca.
If you might ask, why no first round junglers? We've seen first round junglers almost every series. We've had all of the top side picked. We've had bot lane and jungle pick. No junglers picked here. I feel like Afreeca, because Dread is known as this counter jungling style jungler, they would love to see Griffin pick their jungle and then get a good skirmishing matchup, either 2v2 or 1v1 against Tarzan's choice. I think both teams here, because of the people on the Rift, are actually incentivized to hold jungle a bit longer. You see Kindred banned here already. Not necessarily a champion we've seen almost at all in the KeSPA Cup, but one that Dread could use on that style of counter jungling. Tarzan, about a month and a half ago during Worlds, had about 4 accounts in the top 10, it felt like, but hasn't necessarily kept that vice grip recently, with scrims, of course, taking away time for both of these teams. Elise could be considered when it comes to strong skirmishes. The Lee Sin is available. Tarzan hasn't really known himself to be a Lee Sin, but it feels like Score and Tarzan stepping away from the Blind Monk. We get the Talia, ostensibly for the jungle. This could still be put elsewhere, but probably going to be jungle Talia, and the Camille is left open this far into the jungle and snapped up by Dread. It was always seen as a good matchup into jungle Talia because of the ability to gap close and potentially blow her up, not just be kited from range.
Yeah, and taking a look at the support pool that we do have, lots of stuff banned out here, the TK and the Alistair, and Jelly gonna snap up that Braum. Gonna hover the Thresh. I was thinking maybe Morgana. That's Lahenz's big pick, but instead goes for the Thresh.
And I was gonna bring up the Morgana, but I guess the reason they consider not Morgana is they don't necessarily have as high a premium on Black Shield in this game. The only person who could really put it on, the Ezreal has kind of self-peel already, so that Taliyah is the only kind of secondary carrier, and she's another burst champion to join the Galio. It's not the highest damage profile from Griffin, but we've seen drafts like this win in the KeSPA Cup if you can play the macro side of the game. And if you look at the macro opportunities, the potential, if you outnumber or start the pick CC, those CC bars we love to talk about, the white bar above the health, may never end when Galio, Sion, Taliyah, and also the Thresh are involved. So a pick comp that has very strong fighting in the early game. 2 items like we saw from Deft can be used so well from Viper on this Ezreal. Meanwhile, Afreeca, much more balanced damage profile, still powerful laner, still pick comp. I actually favor the Afreeca draft unless you are really on top of your macro, and Griffin has to re-reveal that, because right now they've been shrouded in secrecy for the better part of 2 months.
My eyes here on the jungle matchup. Dread coming in a big match. The first one for KeSPA Cup on the Afreeca Freecs lineup for him. Up against Tarzan, as you mentioned, one of the best players we do have here in Korea, even in any role, essentially. Tarzan going on Taliyah into Camille, a very difficult matchup. You think about Taliyah into Xinjiao into Camille, it's hard. It's going to be up to Tarzan to survive the early game, because with all this CC, Taliyah can follow up with some huge burst damage.
But there's been no priority on Taliyah, and it was taken when Camille was open. If Camille was banned in the first round, like it has been so frequently, you think, okay, yeah, we're running out of champions that can deal with Taliyah. With the Camille available, it is a bold one, but this is Tarzan we're talking about.
It's going to be a fun one, guys. Game number 1 starting right now. Afreeca up against Griffin. Let's jump onto the Rift. Fan chant?
Nope.
Okay. Well, they didn't hear me.
We're in the Freak Cup studio. That's the Afreeca Freecs' home studio, Valdez.
I know.
If we had home and away games among our Soul teams, Afreeca for sure would be playing out of here. And that lets you know that some weird shenanigans going on with fan chants. Hopefully they are sorted for LCK 2019. Yeah. The Korean fan chants are always super fun to hear. We saw Afreeca Freecs go for this delayed invade on the top side, and it gets them 2 wards, making Taliyah predictable. Was a minigame of its own during LCK Summer 2018, so they'll take that information. They actually started Sweeper on Jelly to stop there being any scuttle control wards on the bot side. This time, well, turns out our Korean advice to dealing with the level 1 Sweeper, just don't put down new wards, Valdez.
Well, ward comes in, finds a place on the red buff, and look at the way they're playing this jungle pressure. You mentioned the wards. They are going to spot them at the red buff, but they're also getting into Taliyah's blue. Again, as kind of a spell weaver, a spell caster, as a jungler, not having that blue is going to be really annoying. We'll see if she does go for the blue steal herself and sets up that vertical jungling style, or how Tarzan wants to handle this start.
And how you read this level 1, because it's a very extended double invade level 1. We probably haven't seen a double invade in months in the LCK. This doesn't happen very commonly after the minion wave changes, the minion spawn time changes, so many different changes. And Dread says, you know what? I know what I want. It's a mid lane gank.
And you know what? Already gets the flash out of Chovy, who's just level 1 on the Galio. Not all that tanky. That's going to be a nice start.
Seeing what Dread wants to do here, because I think a lot of the reason to bring in, take out Spirit, sub out all that experience, and bring in Dread is to play an aggressive style. This is the bread and butter. Formerly Twinkle, now Dread, who played in Challengers and now is on this Afreeca squad. I talked to the Korean casters to get an idea of the expectations. Here's Cloud Templar cast him in Challengers. Said, reminds me of back on Jinner, and while that was a double-edged sword, when it worked, he was very, very viciously aggressive, and that could play dividends on a team like Afreeca, because what we can say about Afreeca is these guys have always been the grinders. Speaking to Spirit, I asked, what's the difference with the new players coming in? What's the vibe? It's everyone wants to practice 24/7. Scrims, solo queue, every moment of the day is put into practice, and all 5 players or 10 players agree on that. That means they're definitely practiced in facilitating Dread to play that aggressive skirmishing style.
Everybody knows that Afreeca is the team that tries to pick up as many players as possible and essentially just in-house practice amongst themselves. Not really solo queue players. They just like to scrim with themselves, so they don't reveal all too much. We'll be excited to see if they can come up with any revolutionary styles as we move into 2019 as well.
Definitely one of the most tilting teams to prepare for as a caster, because you know what? You go on that op.gg, you plug in their name, they played no damn solo queue games, Valdez.
Yeah. Or it's one game of Heimerdinger 3 weeks ago.
And you're like, well,
just like Papa Smithy.
I'm prepped. I'm prepped for the Heimerdinger. Let's go.
Yeah.
On fun times. Well, early game being pretty passive here between Afreeca and Griffin. This was the game that was set up before the tournament even started. Quirk of the system is had 4 teams right at the top seeded into this round of 8. And this year they decided to have 2 of the teams play each other to not make the bracket so lopsided for teams to have a huge advantage of just watching their opponents play twice and then get to play them, because that was giving the LSK teams too much of an advantage as a rule. Now we have SKT versus Damwon facing each other, who have all played the equal amount of games, but here there's an equal amount, but that amount is 0, and that's why we really had no idea what to respect. And Tarzan, after that level 1, remember, he's never had a blue buff so far in the first round of spawns.
Having a bit of a rough time just thinking about going top, waiting for the counter gank, it looks like, just seeing if the Camille would face check into that tri-brush. Pretty, common gank, especially for that time, but doesn't come through, so he just returns back to farming the Raptors, it looks like, whereas Dread is hanging around mid once again. Nothing doing, though, as Chovy was pushed in.
So the upside of this game being the one where Tarzan is just kind of sad and taking whichever camp he can find and hopefully not dying to the enemy is that every lane from Griffin is the one where if you're queuing up for a solo queue game, you're thinking, maybe not ganking that lane. You're like, oh, Sion, don't know about that one. Mid lane is Galio, you're like, oh, that's tricky. Bot lane is Ezreal Thresh for who exactly do I choose here? Yeah. So even though Tarzan is behind, there's no lane that Tarzan needs to baby. Him slowly farming is not ideal, but it's not a death sentence either. And while we look at Griffin and say, okay, their damage profile is pretty limited, it's Ezreal pretty much from the mid-game onwards and some good burst coming through from Talia and Galio. If they can just farm to mid-game and then out-teamfight, there's a chance that you never fall off. You get that, Baron. The gameplay around 15 to 25 should decide this game from a Griffin perspective, because otherwise, with the balanced team that Afreeca has and a nice start from their jungle, things do line up for the Afreeca Freecs.
We're going to see a second Dank seal picked up here by Yukao, as seems to be pretty common, especially on the... Yeah, he actually
that was an epic visual bug also. He froze in spot and then teleported because of the visual bug. That's a spectator bug, by the way, guys. Oh, that was really funny.
But we'll work on that for next year when we move on to patch 9.
We've all got things to work on. Some of my jokes don't come off. I forget some words. The gameplay has been up and down, but 2019, all the bugs will be out.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Kazakhs too, some nerfs over that.
I like Kazakhs. It's okay. But what do you think about the double Dank seal? I mean, we've seen this twice now from 2 different Lissandras, 2 different players, and I haven't really seen that on any other champion. I'm going to hold that thought as Dread is going to be burst down here. That's what Talia can do. And if you catch someone in one spot, your burst combo is quite a lot, which, as I was saying in the pick ban, with all the CC and pick on the side of Griffin, if Tarzan can just stay safely in the backside and do that burst combo to someone like Camille or Lucian, you're going to be having a good time.
Remember, that was actually not even scouted out with a ward for the exact spot, but just timed it out, knew the timer of his respawn, and knew that he'd be there, so nicely played. His bot side.
Oh, Viper. Nice flash away. The flash ignite there from Jelly, really trying to make that work.
That was a hard flash. He had to flash to the side, otherwise he'd be, just because of the nature of the wall, in trouble. Here we go.
Burst. Okay, see you later. The 2 burst champions come together, high-fiving for first blood, as Yukao just deciding he's going to clear a control ward in the enemy jungle. Not sure about that one.
The Griffin scouting report seems to have been aggressiveness circled 7 times, underlined a couple of times. Yukao's clearing out a ward here, but Chovy is around the wall. Tarzan knows that he's just able to turn onto him there. He looked and telegraphed that he was helping with a blue buff take, but instead, Chovy's there. Really nice collapse by the side of Griffin.
Nicely done. Level 6 now with blue buff. Here is Tarzan. Looks like Jelly, no flash. Ooh, the hook's going to go wide, and so Jelly will not be taken out there. I think if you get that hook, might be able to take out Jelly on the backside, unless he can hop to the Lucian. in an epic escape.
I just want to say once again, the flash from Viper was super good because the terrain then being caught between the wall and also his turret. If he flashes back like you always want to do, flash towards your turret, he would have been hit by the Q and could potentially have gone down to a follow flash from aiming. So flashing to the side was the only way to guarantee that he didn't go down.
I'm good. Good.
Here we go again, as now Lehens is level 6, Jelly level 5. Even after that last CS, they really want to set this up now, but Dread is down on the bottom side here. Hook is going to miss once again.
Dread revealed now.
Dread coming in here, but Tarzan is here thinking about it. There's the play back, nearly able to just burst him down with a stun. Going in onto Lehens, and the Ezreal ult does so much damage on the front side.
We're
Here
still
comes
going.
The wall. Oh, Jelly gets on the right side of it. Is going to be safe. Here comes Dread once again. That never-ending aggression. He wants the kill. Nearly gets Lehens on the backside, but nobody is dying. Here is Yukel. Gets into the backside first. A double kill now. As Toby not able to get on top of anyone. The triple comes in. Everybody's partying in the bot lane now. And Sword getting a little bit too close to the sun. Fear beyond death. This might just be an ace here in the beginning of the game. Nearly not able to take out Jovi. Here's Sword getting a double kill on the backside before dying in zombie form. What the hell is going on, Papa?
What an amazing set of micro moves. We quoted all the ages. We talked about all their practice. You can see the practice pays up because it was so close to being one way or the other. And we end with just a decimation of health bars on the bot. We watch the replay here. And almost every flash is perfectly played. Right at the bottom here, you see health bars blinking on Dread and Jelly as they start to kite back. This fight's not over. Tarzan's going to make sure of that. Lehens lives for so comically long. And then the first really impressive move here is when Yukel comes in, because the Lehens hook is predictable, flashes over it for an instant double kill. That was sick from Yukel, putting all that practice on Afreeca to good use. On the turnaround though, Sword realizes there's exit kills, and exit kills aplenty. Fear Beyond Death doesn't end his involvement in the fight, and he's able to pick up Jelly and Dread, I believe, on the back end. Sorry, Keen and Dread,
yeah. Zombie Scion gets a double kill to start off game number 1.
He's got 3 kills overall.
There you have it. 600 gold bounty now for Sword in the top lane on a Scion. And that was kind of interesting. I was curious how Yukel got there first. We're trying to get on top of aiming, but if you just stand still and attack the Talia, that's how you deal with her.
Exactly. That's a really good takeaway if you're at home there, because he's looking for the relentless pursuit, doesn't relentlessly pursue, and thus is able to get away. Nicely played from aiming as he had the good terrain there. I want to draw your attention to what Sword is building. He has not gone for Iceborne Gauntlet. I can split more against the Urgot. I think that plays into our read of, well, other than Ezreal, the consistent damage is pretty minimal on the side of Griffin. He's gone for, I have more utility tank items that will work in lane and also help me hard engage when we need to, because the timings, we already mentioned 15 to 25 minutes for Griffin to really get some massive neutrals. They need to have as much of that teamfight initiation, utility, and tankiness on Scion as early as possible, and that's why he's indexed away from the Iceborne Gauntlet. It's much more about the lane trades.
Be fun to see if he can snowball this lane a bit with the 3 kills that he has picked up. Very similar in farm, but the one MVP of farm so far here at 12 minutes is actually Yukel, who had that one oopsie on the control ward, but a nice play by Griffin to take him out. But after that, he got angry, got the triple kill. Has 3 stacks on 2 dang seals, plus a refillable. The corrupting pot there.
There is something oddly satisfying about the 3s in a line right there, 3 of them in a row.
It's 3 threes.
I know. Yeah. I'm feeling good about that.
Just makes me feel warm and fuzzy.
Just talk about the game. I'm just going to stick with the 3s.
Yeah, just watch that.
Beautiful.
How do you feel about 50 and 2 in the top side with the call of the...
Really bad, actually.
Yeah. Did I just ruin your moment?
You did, actually. Yeah. Now I'm taken out of the moment. Thanks.
How about the one...
Remind me not to watch...
The one Braum potion. That really annoys me.
Remind me not to go to an art gallery or watch a thinking movie with you. You're going to take me out of the moment, Valdez.
Yeah.
In case you guys are not players of League of Legends, just spectator, you only get the 1 set of ability power from the stacking on the Dark Seal. I understand that not all of viewers will know that you don't have 6 stacks over 2 Dark Seals, just the 3 stacks, but you're doing it because the item is so damn gold efficient at 350 gold, and the sell price is, the resale price is very high, so you don't lose a lot. And in the early games, eking out 100 mana for 1 more rotation, or the extra bit of ability power is still a pretty damn good choice. Just like you see 80 carries, buying a Fairy Charm because they have the gold, and then selling it back later.
I really like where the corrupting pot is right now. With Time Warp Tonic, it was kind of ridiculous, but now I feel like it's in a pretty good place. You don't see it taken every single time. Lots of Doran's Ring, and it's kind of 50-50, so I feel like that's the ideal situation for corrupting pot versus Doran's Ring. You don't want it to be 100% or 90% or anything lopsided like that.
It's pretty cool that nobody really has a standard build in the mid lane anymore. Ludens is probably the closest to that, but Protobelt is a Galio choice and a Lissandra choice in this game. No one goes... It felt like there was that build, double Dorans into X for the longest time, or triple Dorans way beyond that. The Budget Rod of Ages build, as we used to call it years ago. All those have been either target removed or soft removed with changes in the items, so I like the fact that there are more opportunities, especially around the mid lane. Tarzan and Dread have been around the same part of the map for the longest time.
Okay, the Ensemble Force. Oh, here comes Dread, though, and Tarzan just gets popped like a balloon. That's what happens with Camille versus Taliyah. Had a bit of help from his friends, but fortunately, Tarzan just not going to do much.
The jungler that is revealed second has prevailed every time. It's all about waiting and counting the cooldowns, and they were able to turn onto Tarzan when he had everything down. It didn't even matter if Flash was available, he was going to die. The Rift Herald was claimed earlier, and the first big salvo will be shot down by Afreeca. They take down the bot lane turret. It may not be at 14 minutes or earlier, but still a nice moment. As we watch here, watch for the junglers being revealed. Tarzan shows up, he thinks Dread is there, but Tarzan's involvement is minimal, and Dread, because he was around the corner by the time he shows, Tarzan knows his numbers are done.
Fantastic bait there by Jelly, too. Just debated that entire bot lane, plus Tarzan got them in a position. All he had to do was flash away, essentially, and the kill was set up there. And nice play by Dread, getting on top of Taliyah. It's not easy, Camille definitely known to be a very mechanically intensive champion. Makes it happen here. They pretty much auto-locked in that Camille when they saw the Taliyah, and so far it's really working out for them.
50% win rate, but until recently 100% contested was the Camille. Camille jungle is something that's rising in priority in Korea. We already mentioned it earlier in the tournament, but was an LPL only pick, it felt like, was getting outscaled in the previous meta in Korea. Korea had a meta misread, and the meta got faster since then, so Camille has definitely jumped up, and having players like Dread who could jump on and play a very strong Camille. We know that Canyon is a great Camille player. He's the jungler from Downbound Gaming, who we should see in our second series. So that pick is finding a lot more value. 9 kills in 16 minutes isn't quite kill a minute fiesta, but we're in that 16-minute mark. We're now within the 15 to 25 where Griffin really needs to seize this game, and they can't afford to trade down or make many more mistakes, and being predictable on the top side is pretty close to a mistake.
I love how quick the pro gamers are to catch anyone on any part of the map. Whenever they do show on vision, the instant ping. Here's Yukao trying to get into the backside, but the taunt comes in by Chovy, gonna deny any play there. Not sure if he would have dove 1v3 though.
Viper flashed very safely over the wall into the Raptors. I think if he could do that one over again, he would have saved the summoner. So a bit of a waste there, even though he has the arcane shift for most other situations. I think he just thought the 2 members were there and he could just go past the Thresh and get the ult onto Ezreal. Not to be, but another freebie to the side of Afreeca, and they have already shown that when they have an information advantage, they have made some very informed plays in the first 20 minutes.
Afreeca feeling pretty good about their small lead they've been able to gather here at 17 minutes. Just about 1,000 gold, maybe slightly above that. Which one of these teams do you think scales a bit better into the later game?
I think I'm pretty comfortable going with Afreeca. It's pretty close because not like Afreeca have so much consistent damage, but I feel like they do some more things on as one note, especially Griffin when ults are down. They really don't do much. They're waiting for Taliyah to hit the God Seismic Shove out of nowhere, whereas Afreeca do fight a bit more consistently, and have stopwatches in general are pretty tanky as well. So given that, I give the advantage to Afreeca over time. but it's not a massive one. It's kind of a 60-40 at best from the side of Afreeca Freecs, and we're in that window now with the items that are done, where Griffin should be able, through Sion being so ungodly tanky this early, they show up at the right spot with the control ward line and get a face check, actually get something like a Baron that spawns in a couple of minutes' time.
Well, they've sent UCal up to the top side. Looks like Keen going to the bottom side. They have the TP on UCal. Both of these teams have double TP. We haven't had any insane teleport shenanigans. I know we had basically a 5v5 down on the bot side, but it's always funny with the new teleport that you can't cancel, by the way, guys, if you're not playing too much. That change did come in pretty recently. Can't cancel the teleport. Creates some pretty fun moments at times here.
Definitely good for the play-by-play casters, because you can build the hype as the teleport is coming in. They're definitely committing.
Yeah.
Haven't seen too many of those. Like you mentioned, though, the Fiesta teleports will certainly be there when we get 18 best-of-3s from every team in the LCK. And pushing up in the bot side. Remember, Sword built for lane to start, but now we're trying to balance together some teamfight tankiness and being a very potential target of the Lissandra, working on some magic resist. Given that, we've got to continue to mainline his build, his colors cashed in, but we're on the precipice of something big. It feels like we got the one big team fight. We loved it. So many summoners used. We're probably going to get one more and then already be able to rubber stamp a victor. Especially if it's not Griffin, you'll really feel like Afreeca will have a pretty unassailable lead. So given that, all the teams are being pretty defensive here. They're relying on their control ward lines. You like what Afreeca's been able to set up so far in the river. Top side, many control wards you can take. Here we go. Face
the bait is huge. They get Dread this time around. As you mentioned, the jungler that shows up last, really getting the better of it there. You can see how Chovy walks out, and then the two of them jump on him, and then immediately Lahens and Tarzan hop out of the bush.
Never go into the jungle alone. You know they should be packing the friends, and the friends quotient works this time. For the side of Griffin, they get the pick, but doesn't really change their game state. They can't even clear the control wards unless Thresh starts to walk up. He's afraid of the Lissandra. So given that, it's just a pick. It's not a pick and an objective. It's only a solitary pick, and Sword had to full reset from it. Gonna watch the replay here. They walk up here, and the moment that Dread is halfway through his hook shot, he knows he's dead.
Yeah. Nice hook there. Death sentence from Lahens. Able to make that happen after Chovy did turn that one around. Yeah, still waiting for that next objective. The Baron did spawn. In terms of Drakes, you remember Griffin took that very early Infernal in this game. Going to be feeling pretty happy about that one. Next is going to be Cloud for the second Cloud of the game.
Let's see what Griffin want to do, because right now they really don't have vision control of any parts of the map. Aiming able to walk up and take out that outer top lane turret. Lane assignments are kind of awkward because you technically have the flexibility of Chovy or Sword in top or bot lane because they're both wave clear tanks, but the issue with having Galio in the bot lane is then you don't really get much value out of the ultimate. Then you really have to teleport Andor or teleport Flash and get the taunt off. So given that, Sion impacts the fight a bit more reliably, purely off a TP. So with Sion, Tarzan able to start up a Cloud Drake, but so far it feels like where Afreeca's getting their advantage, 2 turrets so far, does feel a little bit more impactful than what Tarzan and Griffin have been put together, even though you like the Infernal Drake.
At least Tarzan on the Talia pretty fast at taking the Drakes in particular, throwing all the stones she can, so at least able to get on the same level in terms of speed, both of them having 1 Cloud Drake. Take a look at the gold, and it looks like the biggest discrepancy is actually in the mid lane. UCal about 1,000 over Chovy. Looked like also Tarzan was about 800 ahead of Dread when it comes to gold. So that's the biggest discrepancy in the 2 roles there.
And while looking at the scoreboard, do notice that Viper himself has gone for double tier pretty early in this build. He's not going to go for a Blade of the Ruin King to try to kill the Urgot a bit more reliably or any sort of armor penetration. My read on that is that in a siege circumstance, let's say you get a Baron or you get a big Elder Drake or something, the Ezreal ultimate, which of course powered up by all the mana stacking you go for, will poke out what is pretty short-ranged wave clear on the side of Afreeca. If that Unbreakable is on cooldown, you can poke and then take more. As I hear a Sion ult.
Here he is, and look at that angle! Finds Dread right in the front. The follow-up damage goes all on top of Jelly, and they're gonna find UCal here too. Not gonna time the stun correctly though, as UCal is able to flash away. Really hard to get that one down, but at least Griffin do come up with a kill.
And that is certainly the essence of the Goomba stop. The CC bars we alluded to were about as overlapping as can be. It only gets one person. It only gets the enemy's support who keeps their summoners. Yukon walks up. He still wants to claim a blue buff, but going to be contested and stolen by Tarzan.
Easy peasy there on the Talia. Can smite that one away. No start on any objective as well. They just get the one kill, and that's about it.
And a moment like this, and what was possible with Flash Q into the really nice angle there from the silence. Once again, the visual bug is a bit annoying to deal with. Is imagine that when they start Baron, and they have a very, very strong Baron turn team. Their Baron damage is pretty low. Talia's decent, but all the nerfs have hurt. And there's no Blade of Ruin King on Ezreal, so once again, just a decent Baron taker. But their Baron turn is S+ tier, with all the hard crowd control and playmaking that the 4 members and Viper can do. Speaking of blue buff contests.
Look at that damage just from the True Shot barrage and a little help from Sword. As Dread not so tanky on the Camille. I wanted to see the items. You see he has the stopwatch for now, but goes for a Sheen. So you have to think he'll head into that Trinity Force before the Guardian Angel. We've seen that not work out here in the KeSPA Cup before, Papa.
In this particular game, I think it's doubly a bit of a head scratcher because you dive in as Dread. You're going to have to lead with your face quite a lot. I was thinking about in terms of Baron vision check, because I think Griffin wants to make this game about a Baron like we saw in the Gen G series in Game 2 yesterday against Kingzone Dragon X. And then it's, if Brom's not in position, then we've already seen Dread hookshot and die mid-hip hookshot multiple times. Here it's Yukal who's going to get away. With no Guardian Angel, with only a stopwatch, if he tries to face check going for a slow Trinity Force, he's going to die real fast, and most of the threats are mid to short range on the side of Griffin. So what does it look like where the Trinity Force actually finds value unless one person is caught in a side lane, which seems like not the sort of gameplay that Griffin's going to look for?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take forever to get that Trinity Force, too. I mean, when is he going to have it? He just picked up a Ruby Crystal to head into that phase, but, like, we're looking at least 5 minutes down the line, maybe 6, 7 minutes. And
maybe as long as 10.
Yeah, by that time, I mean, the game could essentially end by just one Baron, and he could have, with all that gold, already had, you know, near a Guardian Angel much faster than that. So in terms of timing as well, everything certainly were in the Guardian Angel's side. But, you know, we'll see if that works out. Maybe he can find Talia in the back line and just burst her down. That would be ideal. Although it could certainly go the other way, too, as Tarzan looking for his own picks.
And those things, like obviously Trinity Force Camille can be strong and will be strong in other games, but when and where to buy your items is actually a very important thing at the pro level. Do notice that Viper doesn't have a QSS, and that plays to what we were discussing, which is he needs his items and to be a big damage threat at 25 minutes, or they probably get outscaled. He can't afford to buy a QSS, is Viper's read in this game. So I feel like Viper's on the right side where, yes, I do like mainlining here, gets the QSS, but it's after he's already started charging up his secondary tier item there. Meanwhile, Dread's read of, I need to pick someone fast, I'm going to build a Trinity Force second. I bet that's a little bit off. Now, you can still play your items, you can still outplay expectations, but these are little things, and we have to talk about the little things because the big things aren't separating Afreeca and Griffin. It's a very even game.
Oh boy, Jelly already. Just a nice chunk there to half, and Sword is getting
so
in
fast
there with that Righteous Glory right in the face of Jelly. Forces the flash away. Without much of a fight there, Sword just having to ult his way in, and well, Jelly got to be careful about his positioning too.
This Scion is not dying fast. Warmogs, he has so much tankiness. If you don't buy Iceborne Gauntlet, it turns out you are a god of tankiness super early. No real threat out of the CC, but in a scenario like that, he gets a flash out of the enemy support, and we'll feel pretty good about that. Jelly is out of the picture. That means vision control is going to be safe. We already said if Jelly's not there, who's face checking, the answer right now is nobody. So, given that all, Dread's able to steal away a Drake in spite of that situation, but getting vision control to follow up that's going to be trickier for the Afreeca Freecs.
All that vision in the red side jungle being cleared up by Griffin now. You can see after that sort of pick onto Jelly, they're able to retake a bunch more control in their own jungle. You see question mark pings even going down over there. There's a couple of wards that snuck through over by the Krugs up on the top side. It looks like there's one, also a control ward pretty deep up there in the tri-brush. Take a look at the gold once again.
Nothing meaningful anywhere except for the mid lane, and that's 500 gold. So
Brom's really far ahead.
Yeah,
by about 1,500. That's a lot of gold.
It's got him an item. He's got one completed item, more than just his, effectively his sightstone by the health item that he got there on the Relic Shield line. He's got that Zeke's Convergence. Nerfed on patch 824B. Remember, it's only a 30% damage burn from the old 50% damage burn. But all the cores are here. All the utility is mostly there. The only real item change we have to talk about is soon we will see the Saracen Brace give that nice big shield to the side of Viper, and also quite a lot more AP calculation. But we're not sure how far that one is away. Probably about 1 to 2 minutes if I was a wagering man.
Still waiting for the big fight that's going to blow this game open. You can see Afreeca once again, they want to get in to the enemy jungle and take as much control away as possible.
They're okay with grouping as this, and this is a pretty good read from Afreeca because it's not an Iceborne Gauntlet Scion, it's a full tank Scion. He's going to be very slow at actually taking down side lane turrets and decently slow at pushing, so they have a lot more time for Keen to leave bot lane, roam in, get some control, and then if he needs to back off, he needs to back off. Look at his summoner spell though. He's got Smite. This is known to the enemy. The Smite burn range here is massive, and Griffin are taking a while.
Oh boy, look at how fast they're taking it down too slowly, making their way in. The Ezreal ultimate here is going to be blocked by Jelly. Here comes Scion into the backside, but it's going to cancel that one real quick. Righteous Glory over the wall. Viper! Oh no! He's in a really bad spot trying to save him here, but the Fear Beyond Death gets it, and now Tarzan in a huge amount of trouble. Toby by himself not able to take out the two members of Afreeca. Yuke out pretty low, and Sword still full health, wants this right now, going 1v4 essentially, but he's gonna eventually have to flash this wall. Scion does not die, guys, but almost garnered himself a kill on the backside.
Despite having QSS, Viper was caught, Viper was taken down by the Fear Beyond Death. The flash over the wall to reposition meant that Keen controlled so much space, and while they couldn't get a further kill instantly, that meant that Griffin really had to labor to get position. But with Warmog, Sword's already full health.
Oh, Tarzan, you are so screwed right now. Trying to block this one with a control ward. He will. Nice flash to the left side there. And now Dread's going in on Lahens. Not sure about that. I spoke too soon as Tarzan and Lahens able to get a kill. Sword coming.
Oh! He snapped him off the wall!
He got him off the wall. There you go. That's going to be Tarzan down. They're not going to go for the Baron, though. They'll just be happy with the kills as Viper is back in the game.
Talia was riding a wall and was sniped by the Urgot to death.
That's Keen, guys, by the way.
I want to see that in full zoom. It will be insane. This was the secondary contest because they did not want to allow the Baron to be taken. While they were able to do that, Tarzan defied your and my expectation, Valdez, by staying alive. The system damage, which was not on worked ground. They get Dread down, but it was all about this play, taking him off the wall. Outrageous stuff from King.
He's, he's pretty good. I've heard of this guy a couple times. The national top laner, they call him. The nation's top laner. Playing for Team Korea there. But either way, that's, a bunch of kills go the way of Afreeca. They're feeling pretty good about their gold lead right now, but still no Baron on the board here for either team. Certainly Afreeca have control of the reins in this one. We'll have to see what a team fight looks like now if Viper and Tarzan can just be safe. But the way that Afreeca opened that fight up was just a little bit too much for Griffin to handle.
And that's returned to why I kind of gave that inkling that Griffin would kind of would not be able to take the team fights in the late game. The problem is, yes, there's a lot of CC threat on both sides, but the situation you're talking about, both Tarzan and Viper being able to fire out damage at the same time, that should never happen with Afreeca because they have the damage to go along with the CC and gap close. And when you have both those things, a team fight where Viper and Tarzan are free hitting is a team fight that Afreeca heavily were outplayed. So I just can't see that in the realm of possibility for how this game should go with how good a team both Afreeca and Griffin are. And if one of Viper or Tarzan is not actually min-maxing their damage, they won't have the threat to get through Afreeca and they will lose a team fight. So Griffin are going to have to show us something special to get themselves out of the position they're in.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about the Trinity Force. Take a look, guys. It's finished now, so that Camille, while not too safe, is definitely going to be shelling out some damage here. Lahens in a bunch of trouble, has to flash away from that one. Wasn't sure about committing to the hook there, but either way, they get the flash out of the Thresh now. Be blocked here as everybody's just going back, and actually Toby's doing a nice job just pushing the bottom lane. Some pings coming in from the side of Afreeca. They got to deal with him eventually.
Definitely don't have any luxury to hold on to your Unbreakable and not use it for Ezreal when he has double tier items complete, and the mana to AP conversion goes from 1% to 2% AP. When you finish that Ceres, the shield will also be useful. The Hens had the Aftershock. They were trying to wait it out and then just didn't end up being able to turn onto him after he flashed away. Back away, we look at the items. They're pretty decked out on both sides, Valdez. Again, we give that advantage to Afreeca. They've had the vision advantage, they've had the tempo advantage, but it's been inches, and something like a Baron is needed to really put it over the edge.
Wow. Blue Trinket right when they started. Griffin know exactly when these guys are going to go for it. Now it's Ezreal's turn to come in and help with the leash, essentially, but now they know it started. Griffin, how will you deal with this?
Remember.
Double smite, and Lahen's not going to steal it. Will they go for the fight? Smite comes in from Urgot. They want a fight here. Sword being focused now, but Galio is going to knock up 3. Can they burst someone down? It looks like eventually one will go down, and it's going to be Toby, actually, on the backside. Kyle is there in the backside trying to zone everybody out, and that they will. Down will go Tarzan, just pops like a balloon. Not tanky enough at all. Lots of low health members on the side of Afreeca. Going to be hard to chase after the Thresh and the Ezreal, but the Baron is taken here by Afreeca.
And these teamfights so delicate. Looked like Griffin were winning it when Tarzan and Viper had no threat on them, and I want to say
oh, he got him!
Damn.
Viper, he's back.
He needed a moment like that to actually fire back, but towards the end, when Tarzan goes down in an instant, when Afreeca able to refocus, Afreeca able to get it, but not by much. The Baron buff is what really separates here. The double smite comes in trumps, but when you waste so much, look at the health bar, it's so microscopic. Are the 100 health bar lines on the side of the Scion. At this moment, you think Griffin have got it, but that's because aiming is free hitting the Scion. It takes a while to get through him, but when Scion is down, Talia is a lamb to the slaughter, and Viper cannot put out any meaningful damage to the Urgot.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Yukal's positioning there. I was watching him specifically. He waited so long until, you know, you were talking about that. Everybody's pretty much shelling down onto the Scion, but he got into the back line with his E, immediately ulted Viper. And even though Viper had his QSS and was doing a nice amount of damage to Yukal was able to Zhonya's. Then he bought so much time for the Scion to die. And then even though he got low, eventually Keem was able to lead the charge and push everybody else out of the fight. So good job there by Yukal as well. Afreeca, another solid team fight. They're going to be looking for some turrets now with the Baron push.
And Viper, if they had gotten the Baron there, Griffin, has the perfect build in order to poke down the enemy while sieging. The ult comes up so frequently with the cooldown mechanic on the Mystic Shot, and actually just kind of, maybe not with any kills, but poke out the enemy and take objective. Poke out the enemy and take objective. From behind now, against the Baron buff, he really has so low threat onto someone like the Urgot. Even the Zhonya's on Yukal will make him very, very tricky to kill through that in his self-ult. He can't actually puncture anyone down unless he's ulting. That lack of damage is going to be so tricky to push through. Adaptive Helm Urgot feels like someone else has to deal with the damn Urgot.
Well, Viper's trying his best. In an awkward spot there, but has the Thresh over the wall. That's 2 inner turrets now that have been taken by Afreeca. They're setting their sights on the top side here. No stop on the Yukal recall. And the teleport, rather, will come to the top side, and here's the rotation. Just trying to take as many turrets on the outside as possible. They got that last Mountain Drake so fast in order to get the Elder Drake to spawn actually now in 20 seconds. So they could just snowball this Baron into an Elder Dragon and continue their push.
And that's the theory of getting all those inner turrets and backing away. Ooh. Sword is going for a deep flank here. How are they going to pull this one off, Griffin?
Might be able to set up the stun, and oh, they have no idea! Aiming in a ton of trouble, but now he's going to be talked it down. They burst him down, and Griffin are able to do it on the back of Sword and his amazing teleport. They're looking for Jelly now. Should be able to pick up 2, and there you have it, Sword. He's trying to take the cake in this game, wants that MVP. Dread, meanwhile, is going to dodge that Ezreal, thankfully. But can he start this? No, he is not going to be able to take that down.
Holy crap, that was awesome from Griffin. That wombo combo was the min-max we never saw coming with where the game state was. And now Griffin's saying, nice Elder Drake leash. Let's start it up.
That was pretty insane. I want to see the replay here. It doesn't look like Dread is going to try for a steal, and this game is turned on its head now. We're in the late game. You know, Afreeca should be doing well, but if Griffin outplayed him like that, then who knows where this game is going to go, especially now with the Elder on the side of Griffin.
Some casting words are overused. You know what's one of them? Wombo combo. You know what this is? The essence of Wombo combo comes through as the ultimate to keep them in. The hero's entrance there was also on point, as was the cue to begin it. Toby comes in, and that is just so much knock-up. Unbelievable stuff from Griffin, and this is why they were the team that so many looked to lead the line at Worlds, but unable to do so.
And you know who might have been the VIP, or rather the MVP of that fight even? You know, Sword and his teleport, that was great, but how about the 2 control wards that are still in the jungle? I think that one that's in the bush to the side of that top lane might have given vision for him to set up that stun. Without the vision, maybe you don't get aiming there. Maybe he's able to hop away with his flash and he survives, and it doesn't look like that, and the game is totally different. So, nice setup in the vision.
So a couple of things happen here. Griffin get a reset because the map state was looking like it would just be Afreeca deciding everything. Take the last inner turret and then from there find a victory. Now they're the ones with Elder Drake and forcing Afreeca to march to the beat of their drum. The Baron gets a do-over as well. They did not break the base with the Baron, did Afreeca Freecs, as well. They have a lot of things. Ranged poke and siege is not something that they are full of. So given that, the double smite is also going to be unable to be changed to because cycling spells this quickly is pretty impossible as the Urgot. So the Baron threat is also lower from the side of Afreeca Freecs. Given all of those things, we've already talked about how it's very tricky for Griffin to win a team fight. To recreate what they were able to pull off there seems impossible. And yet this is the team that almost with a full squad of rookies and a rookie coach ran the Royal Road. They were so damn close. They were 2-1 up in the LCK Summer Final. So given all those things, there's conventional logic and there's Griffin magic, and one of them has to come through in this game number 1.
Griffin definitely the team that could pull it off. We will have to see. Again, guys, this is only game 1, by the way, in this best of 3. He in a little bit of trouble, but he is Urgot. Can they do burst him down? He misses his flash, and Viper gonna pick up that kill. Is now on a killing spree, and we're not done here. They want to get the, okay, dash over the wall there by aiming. Is going to get to safety, but either way, they get that Urgot, a very valuable member of Afreeca.
Suddenly, some of the calls when it comes to face checks are a little bit too brazen from the side of Afreeca. The game's taken 35 minutes was Afreeca running every moment. Now Afreeca behind. Keen dead. TP when he respawns is going to be too late. The ult's actually used up there, interestingly. Mostly for Baron damage, I'd imagine.
Vision, maybe.
It also could be for Vision. I don't think you're faking anyone out because they can see where the ult started from, but the Baron goes down quickly. Afreeca knew about that, but there was nothing they could do in a 4v5. They could potentially lose the game in that scenario. They think they can find a better day to fight. They're going to have to fight soon as the Elder Dragon respawns way faster in this meta, 2 minutes earlier than it used to, which means it'll probably time up pretty much with the end of this Baron buff for Griffin.
Everything's souped up here in this new version of League of Legends, just like a sports car. Everything is faster. And makes the game faster and more fun. I actually like this current version of League of Legends we're playing on. I want to point out to the items of the Galio, he got the 1,000 gold from killing aiming and stopping his spree that he had in the top side. So he's actually picked up a death cap and another needlessly large rod. So he's rocking the huge AP build right now.
A point I brought up, because we had so many rookies and players re-debuting, or just completely debuting, and the KeSPA Cup rookies coming in, was the mechanical ceiling of League of Legends, raising year in, year out. This is one of those games with so many young players that you see the potential, that you see the minimum here is God tier 3 years ago. We're seeing so many awesome plays in just little half seconds, and we can't even call out all of them, whether it's play-by-play or even in the replay. There's been so many little technical moments. The macro has largely been good. It does feel like the first game of a new patch for both these teams, but both with plenty of scrims behind them. Now we see Griffin with that Baron buff pushing through. 2 minutes left on the Baron, so about 50%, and Dread is behind. He wants Viper.
Oh, he's gonna find him too, and that damage reduction not gonna come in here. Viper's still alive. He's getting over the wall, but aiming. Able to take him out of the backside. Toby wants to get him. He's gonna zone him out
the
for quite a while.
The damage is done for Griffin maybe here.
Yeah, Toby not able to take anyone out, and aiming is gonna be saved. UCal gonna get stunned up, but Tarzan is not enough damage for the lineup of Griffin. And that fight does not go the way Griffin was looking. Afreeca gonna take 2.
Really brazen play there from Griffin. Just walk up so far, and then Dread does what young junglers with no big pro games behind them can do. That he has the metal in the moment to look for the engage. He finds his man. Viper goes down. No resist offered that Galio ult anymore. Can they end the game while Viper is dead? Probably not, but can they get the first inhibitor of the game? The answer is yes.
Yeah, we got 20 seconds here
try.
on Viper. They're gonna go for it. And 24 seconds on Chovy. The hook comes on to Yukal, but again, it doesn't look like there's any damage from the side of Griffin. They're not able to take anyone out here. It looks like, okay, we are going to have Lahens go down and the push continues, but actually there's no minions left, and Keen, the shield keeps him alive, but he's going to barely get away as the two-shot barrage does go wide. They don't even get in Nexus turret.
TP's coming in as well. TP's coming in as well.
Okay, here's Chovy.
Oh!
And he gets a 3-man stun, and it's gonna take out the Braum. And oh boy, down will go the Lucian as well as Chovy is still on the chase. There's that AP burst. 3 kills to the side of Griffin, and this is turned on its head.
There's a minion wave in the bot. Can they just win the game here with the interrupt? They might be able
to. Dread on a ward. The flash comes in from Tarzan. They're going for the end, Papa.
Griffin have done it. Griffin have won this game against expectation. Again, that magic has come back. Magic is in the air, love in the air for some of our fans, and the game will end on this push.
What a game we've had. It's going to end here in 45 minutes, but Griffin, at the end of it all, in such a long game, are going to be able to take this one out. Keen, he might be going down. They want an extra kill, and hell, they deserve it at this point. Give it on over to Tarzan. Game 1 goes to Griffin.
Are you not entertained by Griffin versus Afreeca Game 1? This is 2019 League of Legends. This is the future of the LCK. Both teams coming in with young, new-look rosters, and Griffin's slight experience edge here, having been together for that single split, does show in the clutch. It was hard to execute. On paper, it looked like they wouldn't be able to do it. But Sword led the charge with that amazing wombo combo that truly brought out those words and did it justice in the top side. And they ended it also with a fantastic teleport from the Galio. Griffin can never be questioned in the clutch. A clutch rookie lineup. It sounds like two terms that shouldn't go together well, but it only does for Griffin. Nope in his first professional coaching game on this Afreeca lineup. Needs to give advice, but he knows that so much of the work was done, so much was good from the Afreeca Freecs, but in the clutch, in the 1%ers, Griffin found the victory.
Definitely top 3 games here we've had at KeSPA Cup, maybe number 2 or number 1. Just beside, I would say, the Gen G game versus Kingzone the other night, but either way, what a big one to start off the night. That's exactly what I wanted to get myself into, and you'd see Afreeca. They're like, oh, we were so close. That last decision to go and try to end the game was not the right one, Papa, and they got punished hardcore by Griffin, who take game 1. We're going to come back after a quick commercial break for game number 2. I'll see you guys there.